It's been quite a week. Some sad news, which we will touch, and
absolutely
some rougher news because we live in 2020.
It just doesn't let up. Who ordered this year? No, this is like the appetizer that has arrived at the table that like only one person wanted, and there's 6 of us, and we're all expected to split it, and I'm just not cool with that, Jane. Okay?
Yeah. It's like a jumbo soft pretzel for 6 people. It's like, how? I'm not gonna get a lot of this pretzel. It's just not gonna happen.
I'm not gonna get a lot of this pretzel, and it's tacking on $4 onto my tab,
right?
Because for some reason this one big pretzel costs $16, and like, no,
absolutely,
I didn't want the risen dough with salt. Okay, I didn't want the swift kick in the nuts that has been 7 months of 2020.
Yeah, 2020 is the malort of years.
Hey, you know what? When I ordered a black eye, all I wanted was a coffee with 2 shots of espresso. I didn't want 2020.
Yeah, you didn't want an actual black eye in your face. Get punched.
I didn't want a year-long black eye. I think I would take one for the human team. I think we could collectively take one for the human team if everyone agreed that we could all just like have one black eye for a long year, and then 2020 didn't happen.
Yeah,
I think I might be onto something here. That's all I'm saying. I'm solving world hunger over here.
Yeah. 2020 is like a mayonnaise sandwich, just bread, mayonnaise, and bread,
and another piece of bread, and you are. I am so upset. It's slimy.
Yeah,
it is oppressively white. And it gives you no nutritional value.
But you're hungry, so you're like, I guess I'll eat this, but like, it sucks. It's not good.
2020 is like ordering a salad and they bring you onions, you know?
Just onions.
Just sliced onions, and it's like, I'm sorry, no, I wanted like onions in the salad, and 2020 is like, this is the only salad we got.
Yeah, all right. An onion salad. Eat it up, motherfucker. Yeah. 2020 is like walking out of the door, and you're at work, and then in the middle of the day, you smell your pits, and you realize you forgot to put on deodorant. Yeah.
Fuck.
So now you have to put your armpits close together and not raise them too high.
Yep. And now you're walking like a weird little duck or something, and everyone calls you Duck Man now. Like, oh, there goes Duck Man walking like a duck.
Right.
It's like, no, because what's worse, being Duck Man or being like Stinkmeister? You know?
Stinkmeister. Yeah. All right, having your pit smell like enchiladas. What's the worst?
Or having your pit smell like enchiladas, and like, you've been eating healthy. Why do you smell like enchiladas?
Right.
It is just the nature of your flesh prison.
Yeah. Fuck.
We are genealogically 80% identical to most Mexican food. That's why we smell like enchiladas all the time.
Yeah. We evolved from enchiladas.
I mean, these are the cold, hard facts, the scary facts, the facts that we don't want to face.
We're scientists, and we're just telling you that, the cold, hard fact.
I feel 100% as qualified to say that I am as, if not more scientifically intelligent and rigorous than like anybody on the Fox News network. So you know what?
100%.
At least I got that. I set the bar really low. I was trying to think of like.
That's fine.
Oh, that's such a low bar,
folks,
though.
Facts don't care about your feelings.
That's right.
Oh God, let's just get into this episode. Fuck 2020, man.
Now that we're getting on into it, let's just fucking get down into the nitty gritty. Ben, why don't you kick us off?
That's right. If this is your first time listening, I'm Ben.
I'm Ian.
And this is Too Many Flix. That's right. I'm going to give you a rundown of the show so it's easy for you to understand and it's easy for us to plow through and get you some knowledge in your noggin. So first, we do a little segment called Trailer versus Trailer. We pit 2 trailers or sometimes 3 trailers against each other and we see which trailer is the better trailer. All right. After that, we we give you some Flix news. We talk about the hottest news that's out in the industry today. Also, after that, hot takes. A hot take that you might love, you might not. But guess what? It's definitely gonna get you engaged. It's definitely gonna have you doing backflips in your brain. And then after that, you know what it is. It's a game, trivia. We're trying to figure out what we're gonna do this week. It might be trivia, it might be another game. I don't know. Why don't you wait till the end of the episode to find out, player? All right, with that, let's get into the fucking episode, because this is the best podcast you'll ever hear after you ate a bowl of rice, soy sauce. That's it. So let's get into the show.
So economical and so filling. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Trailer versus trailer. Hello and welcome to today's event, everybody. We have weighing in at really no amount of pounds because it's a digital movie video that will be played on your screen in the Old Spice corner.
Ooh, good corner.
We've got the Batman. The Batman, my friends. Sorry for the peeking there, Matt. I do love you. I got a little caught up in my announcer's voice. The Batman is going to be dropping October 1st of 2021. It is directed by Matt Reeves, and it is starring Robert Pattinson, Zoe Kravitz, Colin Farrell, Paul Dano, and Andy Serkis, literally just to name a few. Like, there are a ton of folks in this film, okay? The premise, it's a dark, gritty reboot, again, for the third time now, but it's Matt Reeves, and he's good at telling personal tales inside of the scope of epic stories, so we'll give it a pass. Also, our Pat has put Bruce Wayne in eyeliner, so we have no choice but to stan. And that's really all that you fucking know about Batman based off of this trailer, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
that's all I got. Which is not a bad thing. That's not to say that's a bad thing at all.
It's not a bad thing at all. It's well, you know, I guess I'll go first with my explanation.
Please, yeah. What did you see in this trailer, Ben, that excited you or made you curious to hear?
Okay, so the trailer in and of itself, great. Really interesting. I had no doubt about this team of Robert Pattinson and Matt Reeves. If you've seen any of the Apes movies, you know those things are banging. And he's really good at telling those stories, like you adequately stated in the description. And the colors, I don't know if I said that already, but I'm gonna say it again, are beautiful, dark and yet vivid, reds and greens and stuff like that. I like the villain. I believe the villain will be the Riddler.
They certainly seem to be hinting at that.
The Riddler, yeah. Colin Farrell looks really good as the Penguin. You barely see him in all that makeup, but it's chef's kiss. And Jeffrey Wright, who's one of the most underrated actors of our time, whom I love, is in this as Commissioner Gordon, and he looks great. You also have Zoe Kravitz, who looks fantastic. I mean, the movie looks good. It's gritty. It's gritty. It's probably the best apt way to go about it.
It is, and that is like what they have all been promising us for the longest time. I remember back when we were talking about this movie at least a year ago. And listeners, you can go back. If you don't believe that Ben has been saying that this is going to be a chef's kiss choice pairing in heaven for like the past year and a half, you can go check the records. It's all, the receipts are there.
They are there. I've been preaching and praising Matt Reeves for a while now. He's definitely going to be one of those big blockbuster directors of our generation. So please be on the lookout for all of his stuff. With that being said, Batman in and of itself, especially this trailer's cut, is problematic, especially with what's going on right now.
Very true.
I think we would be remiss to not draw that parallel between a mass vigilante brutalizing criminals. It's not okay, so it's not really the best look, and I think there's so many more nuanced takes of Batman that need to be told, as opposed to like, I'm so angsty and brooding and I don't know how to control my impulses and I'm actually out of my fucking mind and I might beat the shit out of you for selling a dime bag. And it's just like it's like, yo, I can disassociate that knowing who Batman is and still somewhat enjoy it, but the black brain black part of my brain is just like, oh man, Batman is a dick. And like, oh man, shit
this is a scary rich white dude that goes around and randomly beats up.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's okay. I rather think it is okay to throw up quotation marks here, criminals.
Right.
Because like the whole point of, or rather what we are told as children, the whole point of the American criminal justice system is to make sure that everyone is given due process.
It's a hard line to walk. And I think you need to stop skirting around it. We're at a point now, Batman is a perfect vehicle for something like that. Yes, Batman is not black. You can make him black. Again, if you listen back to this podcast, you know I'm definitely a champion for black Batman. I think it makes a lot of sense. But if he's not, you still need to tackle it. Not necessarily even a hero complex. Make Batman kind of a dick. It's an open-ended, just like question. How does Batman affect the community? And has he really been targeting the right people? And then that has to be a self-reflection on Batman. What does Batman do? How does Batman atone for that? And Batman might be his own villain. And I think that's the strongest thing that you can have at this point in time. But they're scared, of course, because I think Marvel would have tackled that, but the MCU that is, but the DCEU is still relatively new, and I don't see them tackling anything like that anytime soon because they want money and they don't care about making a statement. But I do like this trailer a lot. It is phenomenal and it looks cool, but those are my concerns, and that's where I wish, and maybe it is, we haven't seen it yet, the movie, but maybe that could be something that explains it. I don't know.
That's true, because we actually don't know the nature of whatever dastardly plan Batman will be thrust into. Like we as of yet are given very little information on what the Riddler's goals are, what the Penguin's goals are, what Catwoman's goals are, what all these people's roles in this world are. But I think you're absolutely right. It would be remiss not to bring up that in these quote-unquote gritty reboots of Batman, really the only power that Batman has is he considers himself above the law. And like that can be, as we've seen, pretty gosh darn dangerous. Especially with like the mentality of polices in neighborhoods, especially communities of color. There's a fantastic Twitter thread that I cannot for the life of me remember the user. It has gone viral, so it's not like I'm detracting from their presence online. Dear listeners, please do look it up. You can probably use the keywords Twitter, Batman, thread, combats police, or something like that. But in essence, what this Twitter user does incredibly well, I think, is they address the historical context in which Batman first gained popularity, because he's actually been around since like the 40s and originally started as semi anti-Japanese propaganda. But like his rise to prominence was at a time when police forces were underfunded and didn't really have a lot of equipment at their disposal, and so it was very cathartic and whimsical, and it may have even felt necessary at that time to fantasize about an individual who did have the equipment necessary, i.e. Batman's focus on gadgetry in early iterations, because he had the tools to subdue criminals mercifully, you know? And as the police has become more and more militarized, there has been less of a divide between Batman and real world police, so it progressively gotten more like, oh, he can just cut straight to the punching. Like, he doesn't have to do any sort of actual investigative work or anything. We could unpack the philosophy behind and the problems behind the philosophy of modern Batman reboots for a long time. I am really glad you touched on that though, Ben, because we would be remiss not to talk about it.
Absolutely.
This trailer though, like grittiness aside and problems with the grittiness aside, it delivers that in spades. It also has a lot of style though, because I think a lot of films think that like you can just sort of be gritty with a muted color palette and like very, very dour, serious lighting, and that's enough. But it felt like there was a lot of genuine style in this trailer as well.
Yeah.
Particularly with the choices that they made in terms of audio. Like, I love the fact that it just opens on the DC logo and we hear duct tape.
Yep.
Like, what an ominous sound in a film that, you know, is essentially like just based off of genre and knowledge, precursor knowledge of Batman, is going to be a crime thriller, and you open on a nearly blank screen with just the sound of duct tape. Like, that is an indication of I just love people who relish in their craft like that, you know. Like, they wanted you to feel like this world was real before even seeing it, and so they use sound. Like, just so clever. I feel like we talk about this a lot. Sound is something that, if fallen by the wayside, like, really stands out in a trailer, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. The sound's perfect in this. It is. It's a Matt Reeves movie written all over it. This motherfucker loved red, by the way.
I can tell, and I don't mind it.
No, because even you see it in the Apes films and like some of the font and like
sure,
graphs, and just like I mean, I get it. Red captivates the eye.
It commands attention. It really does.
It does command attention. I kind of think I'm ready for a lighter Batman though, and I really love gritty. I love gritty. Gritty
Batman has its place.
Probably doesn't need it anymore though. I knew Matt Reeves was gonna do gritty. I thought it would be a lot more straight up like noir. Like I'll
say this.
Go ahead.
I felt like there was a little more comic book in this trailer than I had seen in the last two iterations of Batman. Does that make sense?
The Nolan Batman.
The Nolan and the Snyder, however you want to classify Batfleck.
Yeah, gotcha.
But like the past two iterations of Batman, there felt like there was a little more embracing of the comic nature of Batman, especially with like the Riddler's like notes and like the font and the way that they reveal it just all had. It felt gritty, but it also felt a little heightened in terms of like what could happen, you know. Like, slapsticky is the wrong word, but you know how comics are kind of a little more than real life, just purely based on the nature of animation and drawing, right? You know,
absolutely.
I don't know if that was just me getting that vibe, but I did heavy vibes of that.
I got that vibe with Commissioner Gordon as well, just in that interaction where he was like, you know, he's showing him everything that Batman was there. I was like, this seems ripped right out of a graphic novel.
Yes, very much so.
I agree with that assessment, Ian. But yeah, I mean, it's another Batman movie. It looks different enough, and also Matt Reeves is in it. Directing it, Robert Pattinson is in it, and among others. So I look forward to watching this whenever it gets made. I will say this: we hope and send good energy to our Pat because he is diagnosed with COVID-19, and we want to send this as a reminder to our listeners. And listeners, please remind your loved ones and friends to wear a mask, wash your hands, and socially distance. It is important so we can get our lives back and be able to see Batman before, before whatever
before
God
I'm
you
85
worship.
or something, right?
Yeah, but before whatever God you worship comes back. Yeah, whatever. So with that being said, let's get to our next trailer. I don't know if we told you this, but we got a triple threat today. In the coffee corner. That's right. Wake up, get a cup of Joe. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup. We're not sponsored by them, so please don't sue us. We got Zack Snyder's Justice League. That's right, the Snyder Cut. It's coming out September the 5th of 2021 because COVID is still a thing. It's directed by none other than Zack Snyder. It's starring Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot, Ezra Miller, Jason Momoa, Ray Fisher. You know who's in this motherfucker. I mean, come on.
You've already seen it once before, ostensibly.
Exactly. And the description lies, Zack Snyder's director's cut of Justice League. Yep. Yeah, I'm not going to give you anything else. That is what the fuck this is. All right, Ian, since I took the first thoughts on the Batman, what did you think about this cut of Snyder's Justice League trailer?
The trailer, for listeners who have not seen it yet, is very interesting to me. I can't imagine the marketing team meeting to like sit down and be like, okay, like we have to sell this story a second time 3 years later. Like, how do we do that? What better way than to showcase some new shots that we have no frame of reference for? So, you know, like, I, having not seen Justice League, am not the best person to talk about this. I did think it was an interesting choice to use Hallelujah. If I'm not mistaken, it was Leonard Cohen's cut, which is very precious to me, so I'm kind of iffy on their use of it, but I get I get what they were going for. I am interested to see his vision. As you pointed out, this is interesting because I hadn't picked up on this. There does seem to be a different color grade, which is great. That was one of the biggest complaints that I heard about OG Justice League 2017. And like, I don't know. I thought it was very simple. They just did like a 2.5-minute cut of the Hallelujah song and put up different images with Snyder's cut. I didn't feel too strongly about it. I think it's an interesting study in like how do you do that? How do you take a story where like the major appeal when it was in theaters, all grandstanding aside, we can say it's about like developing characters and really fleshing out the universe, but all grandstanding aside, the main appeal of Justice League was the sorry, my door is creaking, one sec. Now that the ghost has vacated the podcast. The main appeal of it was largely based on like reveals and surprises, like, oh shit, that's how this character is, or like, oh shit, that's what that character would do. We've already got all that. So I don't envy the marketing team their task that they had with this. It didn't blow me away. Ben, you have a little more frame of reference. What did this trailer for the recutting of Justice League do for you?
It's a good cut. It's a good cut of a trailer. So was the first trailer. The Joss Whedon Justice League trailer got me amped. I thought it looked really good. It turns out it.
Oh, that's right. That's the one where they did the Come Together marketing campaign. That's right. Yeah.
It was a sick trailer. They make really good trailers. I just hope they're not polishing off a turd. I will say Darkseid looks really cool. That's the first shot you see. A lot more with Cyborg. He was criminally robbed in Justice League. He just kind of showed up and there he was. It looks good. I mean, it does look really good. There's enough footage there to be like, oh, this kind of looks like a different movie. Like this looks really cool. Like a different movie. This looks like a good movie. Like, but then again, so did the first trailer. So,
sure.
I think Zack Snyder wouldn't put it out there if he didn't think it made a difference. I will say Batman vs Superman, according to many folks, I still haven't seen the director's cut. Apparently the director's cut's really good. Which leads me to think, why is this happening? And it sounds like execs were really pressuring him, and he seems like he's probably a yes man. He's like, okay, fine, as long as I get like a type of director's cut to like justify the cuts I made, or let people understand that there's more to what's going on here, and it's not me. So,
which the studios don't give two fucks about, because it's like, great, we get to sell the movie twice at that point. That's double money for us.
Exactly. So I think Zack Snyder is a competent filmmaker. I mean, he did Man of Steel, which I really like. Batman vs Superman wasn't so good. The director's cut was pretty decent. There's a lot of stuff in there that is left out that drives the motivation between Batman and Superman's fight that really needed to be in there, apparently, that just wasn't there. So everything just kind of seems like rushed. So I wouldn't doubt if this surprised a lot of people that this is really good. And the trailer itself is good. It's good. I don't like the music choice personally. I think it's a bit too much. But I like
it's a little much.
It's a little much. It's a little much. I would have gone with something else, but I will say this: the new clips look phenomenal, and the color looks phenomenal. So
it did look very pretty. It did
look very pretty. It looked a hell of a lot better than what we saw in theaters. So that's one of the reasons why we put it up there, because it's different enough. Otherwise, we wouldn't even put it up on trailer versus trailer. But it's a different cut of the movie, and it definitely shows. I was worried when we first saw it that it would just be the same thing with a different filter, and it's not that. It's some stuff that genuinely is new and looks really cool. So there you go. There we have it. Ian, you have any other thoughts on this? Because it's not really that much.
Man. No, it was like you said, it looks like they're changing some stuff up. It looked like they might have injected a little bit of life, a little bit of color into it. Almost like it was. I was trying to think of some way to work in the electric slide. I can't. Fuck.
It's all good.
And with that fumble of a transition, folks, we're gonna move over to Wonder Woman 1984. And boy, howdy, do I hope the electric slide came out in the 80s. Otherwise, I look doubly dumb. Wonder Woman 1984 is ostensibly going to premiere in theaters October 2nd of this year. It is directed by Patty Jenkins, and it is starring Gal Gadot, Kristen Wiig, Connie Nielsen, Chris Pine, and Pedro Pascal, just to name a few. The premise? Why, it's the 1980s, and Diana has become less of a fish out of water. Hooray! There are a lot of shots of the mall because you can't sit at a movie in the 80s without commenting on the glorification of rampant consumerism. Old Wonder Woman has got her work cut out for her in the form of new villainous Kristen Wiig as the Cheetah and Pedro Pascal playing the man in office who promises people their wildest dreams. Oh, and to that point, Chris Pine comes back as a doofus, and he is really good at it. The one cis white man we can allow. Bless.
Bless up.
That's the premise.
Yeah, I can work on that transition with you. This is the electric slide corner that's Wonder Woman 8.
Oh, and I forgot the whole conceit of our great bit.
It's all good. I got you, bro. I got you. I lift you up, bro. I raise you up so that you can walk on mountains.
Thank you. I'm above the stormy seas. I stand. Thank you, Ben. Oh, God. What did you think coming out of the Wonder Woman 1984 trailer now that you've saved my hide twice, both comically and conceptually?
This looks like a lot of fun, man. I'm not going to lie. That armor that she wears is really sick.
Fucking badass.
You know what?
Right?
I really like it. It's badass. There's a lot of really cool moments, really cool shots. I love the colors. The colors in the first Wonder Woman movie were really cool too. Patty Jenkins is one of those directors like Matt Reeves that you really don't have to worry about when it comes to storytelling. It's like there will be a good story at minimum.
You're gonna have a good time. You're going to have a good time, and you're gonna have a good time. Just let Patty work. Let Patty work. Patty.
And they know that. Studio execs ain't gonna even fuck with her. She's like, get the fuck out of here. I know what I'm doing. Thank you very much.
I love actually this picture that we've painted because they are out here fucking harassing Zack Snyder, and he's like, okay, fine, I'll do the bad stuff.
Right.
And she's like, shut the fuck up, stay out of my way.
Yeah.
I made the one good movie you had before anything. Right. And they're like, you're right, Miss Jenkins. I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah, we're sorry, Miss Jenkins.
You want what? You want her to swing from lightning bolts? Absolutely, Miss Jenkins.
Absolutely.
You want what? You want to bring the winged bird gold armor suit? Okay, yeah, we'll make it happen. Yeah, can we get the budget for the gold winged bird armor suit? Great, thank you.
Okay, we're gonna do that. Yeah, we got you, PJ. So here's the thing that I don't like, and this some people might disagree with me. I didn't care for Kirsten Wiig in this at all.
I don't either. Thank you. Not. Continue on this line of thought. I want to hear you. I want to hear why. Why do you feel this way?
Weird, out of place. I don't know what she's doing. I like her a lot as I've seen her in some dramatic stuff. I've seen some bits of the Skeleton Twins, I think what it's called. And she's okay, but in this it just seems awkward. And I know her character is supposed to be awkward, but even when she's trying to be a badass, it just seemed like there's something missing. And also the CGI didn't look great. I'm gonna be real. Guys, I'm sorry. I know Wonder Woman's probably still gonna be very good because you have great actors in it. And I trust Patty Jenkins. I didn't like Kirsten Wiig in this at all. It just...
So can I jump in here? Because I think I might have some insight into why.
Go ahead,
because I also struggled with her in this.
Yeah.
And the reason that I struggled with her in this was because she has one line that really sticks out to me. And I'm going to paraphrase it here, so I might not get it all correct, but she says something where the essence of the line is, and presumably she is saying this to Diana, she is saying, you had everything, I had nothing.
Yeah.
And I look at her and I'm like, you are a white blonde person in DC. You didn't have nothing. So here's my, like, that's frustrating because here's where I think they went wrong with Cheetah, whom, to be fair, I do know nothing about. I know nothing about Cheetah as a villain, as a character, so I may be way out of bounds here. And I could see why it would be difficult to do this, but you had a perfect opportunity for a sort of almost T'Challa Killmonger sort of dynamic here, in the sense that, like, if Cheetah had been a person of color, it's tough because, like, do we really want to villainize people of color in our media any more than, like, we've already done for centuries?
Right.
No.
Exactly.
But that means that you have to then work to make Cheetah a compelling antagonist, and that takes her out of the villain category because Killmonger Killmonger, I will state to anyone who will listen, is not a villain. He is an antagonist. And if she's coming from the premise of like, you had all this opportunity, Diana from Themyscira, the literal paradise where women rule and don't have to put up with misogynist bullshit, like that's great. And if there's a little bit of like, why don't you all just come and bring that power, that equality to all of the women who are oppressed here? Like, you see where I'm getting with this sort of dynamic.
That's you read my fucking mind. That is the story that you tell. And it's like, you're not doing enough. You're not doing enough.
Maybe that is the story here. Like, again, we don't know a lot about her motivations. I will say we get some insight into her like sort of thing where Pedro Pascal, who is playing Max Lord, and what research I've done on Max Lord is apparently he initially starts with no powers in the comic iterations, and then over the course of some sort of cataclysmic event, he gets the power of suggestion, kind of, or something. So I think that what we're going to see here is he comes to prominence because we see Wonder Woman in DC a lot in this. So she's going, there's definitely something being said here by Jenkins about politicians making false promises or something like that, because he promises anything you want in the world, it can be yours. And then the very next scene, we see Chris Pine coming back. So I'm relatively certain that it's one of those things where people's wildest fantasies come true. Diana wants nothing more than Chris Pine back. Bada bing, bada boom, he comes back. Pedro Pascal is going to come to power. She's got to fight Max Lord because he's convincing everyone that they have what they want, even though there's probably going to be a bunch of authoritarianism or something going on. Now you have Cheetah. Cheetah states specifically, as we are being shown people getting whatever it is they truly want the most. She says, I don't want to be like everyone else. I want to be an apex predator. That is not super compelling motivation, because what does that mean? She just wants to be able to kill people? She just wants power? Like, what does that power give her, you know? Yeah. If it is just purely power, and like that's like falling into the same traps that Marvel villains do with like Ronin, where he's like, I just want the power stone because with the power stone I can have the power. And it's like, okay.
Yeah, it's like, okay, all right, guy. All right, relax, guy.
Right.
I get you. It leaves some disappointment there just by that line alone. Also, I don't know if Kristen Wiig is doing the acting for me well in this.
I am all for comedic actors making turns into dramatic roles. I think that she can do it. I think that she's talented enough. Bridesmaids, while 100% still a raunchy comedy, she's a little more grounded in that one, you know? She's not like her wacky character self. So I think that she has it in her. I do agree that this trailer does not do a good job of showcasing her in that light whatsoever.
Yep. Okay, good. I'm glad you recognize that. I love your take. All right, well, that leads us to this portion of the trailer versus trailer where we decide which trailer is the better trailer. Ian, I'm gonna kick it off to you. Who you got? What's the better trailer? What do you got? Who wins this week?
This is tough because for me, in last place, it will be the Snyder Cut, and I'm sure like perhaps part of that is just lacking frame of reference. That could totally be the case, but it really comes down to this week between the Batman and Wonder Woman 1984, and then that is difficult for me because it's like I was leaning towards the Batman because it has such a particular style. I was like, it is just oozing with style. But then when I revisit 1984, that seems disingenuous to pick it on that merit, because that like Patty Jenkins like has the 80s in fucking full-fledged force here. I'm gonna be happy this time. I'm actually gonna go with 84. I love the puzzle box that Batman sets up. I think Wonder Woman 1984 does the puzzle box very well without, just based off of my our ramblings for the past like 5 minutes. I think it sets up a puzzle box without us even knowing that we have a bunch of little puzzle pieces in front of us. So I'm going with 84 for the style, the humor, and a little bit of its subtlety in the clues that it drops.
All right. Well, I guess it's my turn now. Which one do I like? I gotta go with the Batman.
It's really hard to choose. That is such a stellar trailer.
Yeah, they're both really good. Trailers alone, Batman trailer was really well put together. I gotta go with the Batman, and it's also the shock value of a lot of fans too, just getting that sense of haha, I told you so. But I also do understand the problematic nature, and I wish Batman would lean into that more. Okay, well, with that being said, let's go to our next segment. Ian, do you have anything else to say or anything else to talk about?
Oh man, I mean, I could go on and on about the social complications with Batman in our current society. I could go on. I could go on and on about so much. And listeners, you probably have a lot that you feel and want to say too, so please feel free to reach out to us. Maybe you didn't like our take on Snyder's Justice League cut. Maybe you actually love that they used Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah, in which case you can fight me online. It's great. It's really simple. You can find the venue in which our digital sparring will take place on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. You just got to look up Too Many Flix with the number 2 in the beginning and the X at the end. Get on it.
In the studio with no central AC, Flix News.
All right, and we are in Flix News. We start off this segment, unfortunately, with some very sad news. As many of you know, on the 28th of August, Chadwick Boseman passed away at the age of 43 due to colon cancer, which is way too young for anyone to die, and also fuck cancer. As many of you know, he portrayed T'Challa in Black Panther. He was Jackie Robinson in 42, James Brown in Get On Up, Thurgood Marshall. The list goes on and on. He was just recently seen in The Five Bloods, and it's just hard because he was a pillar to the Black community as well as many other communities. He was diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer in 2016. So all this time he had been battling cancer while making these movies, which is incredible. Which
really remarkable.
It's remarkable. I will say this, that if people are sick and battling stuff like that, and I want people to understand this, just because some people don't push through doesn't make them weak or strong. This is just us highlighting that is a thing that has happened, and it is credible. Even if he didn't do that, he would still be strong and incredible. I just want to put that out there because I see a lot of things like, look, you should be shut up and do stuff too, and that's not necessarily a good thing, okay? But yes, what he did was incredible. The way he impacted people's lives were incredible. He's a great actor. I always loved his work. Even if he wasn't in a great movie, his work was always
always on point.
Always on point. This guy his life, man, was just something to be in awe of. He was a hero on screen and off screen, and he had so much more left to go, which is why it's so disappointing and heart-wrenching. It was, hearing the news, it was just so hard to get through and to hear, but he will be missed, and thoughts and energy to his friends and family and anyone who knew him. This is a tough loss for sure. Ian, do you have any thoughts or comments?
I have so many thoughts and comments about just how difficult, sudden, tragic, world-shattering this all is. But I think you've said it beautifully. He was a hero in every sense of the word. He changed the world, and it's incredibly unfair. It's incredibly unfair to all of the Black, Indigenous, people of color, all Black people all over the world, because because of what he meant, because of what he symbolized, because he literally did, whether or not you're a fan of Marvel movies, superhero movies, whatever you want to whatever your feelings are on that whole genre, he was monumentous in that realm as well as just in the general craft of acting. And sometimes the world robs us of things. You know, he gave us everything that he could, and for that, I think we should all be grateful.
Absolutely, and it hurts because all these kids that looked up to has lost a hero. So this is something that they have to deal with, the grief that they have to deal with, and an already hard year that we have to go through. This just hurts the most, but we can still celebrate his life. We can still live it as he did, and try to aspire to be better
and champion the things that he was championing.
Absolutely.
You know?
Oh, he still lives within all of us, and with that, because it is very hard to get through, we're gonna move on to another topic here. Ian, what's on the docket? What do you got for us?
And next up, my friends, we're actually going to be taking a look at a John Boyega interview he did with GQ, where he got brutally honest about his Star Wars experience. This interview was conducted by Jimmy Famurewa. I am probably butchering that. I'm sorry, Jimmy. And then also Ethan Anderton over at Slash Film helped break it down and sort of distill the relevant bits a la Star Wars. And Boyega finally finally, out of his contracts with Disney, has started to be a little more frank about his feelings on the franchise. And I gotta say, quite frankly, it's refreshing. I am not alone in thinking that Finn was completely underutilized and robbed in this most recent trilogy, and he touches on that. Ben, why don't you talk a little bit about this? What did you see him speaking on or about that really caught your attention?
Yeah, the things that you mentioned, and we talked about this before when we've got into Star Wars analysis, we could talk about it all day, but it's just that character was woefully underused. Not only does he mention Finn, but he mentions the people of color in the cast, period. Rose and, it's like, and the fact that we got Lando at the last movie, it's just like, why, like, what's happening here? Why? Star Wars is supposed to be in a galaxy far, far away. That isn't even supposed to be an issue.
Right. Yeah.
But it is. And also such a brilliant story nugget too. A fallen stormtrooper, which we hadn't really seen, which was set up for like a really interesting, in-depth look at a subplot that would have definitely fit within, the Force is awakening and people are awakening and waking up to their injustices and breaking out of that mold. And despite being born in something, they can come out of it. They don't even have to be anyone. And they just kind of dropped the ball. And you didn't even really see him. Just kind of threw him aside. And I would be pissed too. Yeah, he made a lot of money. Yeah, it was great exposure. But like, what are we fucking doing? Disney should be ashamed of themselves. Star Wars should be ashamed of themselves. Like, it's great that we have a female lead, and that was met with derision and vitriol, but fuck them. But we need more people of color in Star Wars, period. Full stop.
Absolutely.
And they need to have prominent roles.
Like you said, it's a fucking galactic opera.
Right.
Right. I think what, to your point, you make an excellent point that there will be those people who say like, oh, but he should be grateful, like all that money, da-da-da-da-da. He addresses that at the very start of the interview as they start to get into the Disney stuff. As you know, Jimmy gonna be want to do. Jimmy at GQ likes to get down and dirty and that stuff. So Jimmy starts asking the questions, and he starts off by saying like, do you feel grateful for this opportunity? And or how do you feel about it? And Boyega responds, this is a direct quote: obviously, at the time, I was very genuinely happy to be a part of it, but my dad always tells me one thing: don't overpay with respect. You can pay respect, but sometimes you'll be overpaying and selling yourself short. Fucking wisdom. Know your worth. Boyega knew his worth. Of course he was thrilled at the opportunity to join literally probably one of the most iconic franchises ever. Who wouldn't be, But like, he also recognizes when his worth is being denigrated, and I love that. And I love that he's like, I feel comfortable speaking up about them denigrating my worth because I'm my own fucking person. And he just really conducts himself like a true blue professional in this whole interview. It's really good to read. I don't want to steamroll the whole thing though. I don't know, Ben, what else did you see that really stuck out to you that caught your ear or your eye?
Yeah, no, I mean, nothing much else. It's just a very pointed criticism from Lucasfilms and Disney and the writers and the producers that time is passing you by and you're going to be a sci-fi film. I mean, that's, you have all these aliens, but yet you got like a handful of black people. Through how many movies? What, 9 movies? Like, come on, stop. All right, so I'm glad he spoke up. I'm glad he's willing to risk his career for it. But I believe he's fucking John Boyega. I think he'll be good, and I'm glad he used his platform and the stage that he has to shine some light on it, to draw it out, to let people know that this shit is not acceptable and it shouldn't be acceptable. And with that, I want to make one point. This is not on our docket officially, but I want to say this: The Rock was also diagnosed with COVID-19. Him and his family. Very rough. We love The Rock. It is a highly contagious disease. I will say it again: put a fucking mask on, and not on your chin, not below your nose.
Pull it up over the nose. Gotta pull it up over the nose.
Not hanging on your ear, not in your fucking pocket, on your fucking mouth. wash your fucking hands and don't go anywhere unless you fucking have to. Or at least they're adequately socially distancing at that place, at restaurant and our brunch. Make sure it's a social distance place with hand sanitizer. And that's all I'm gonna say, because people out here, a lot of people out here are risking their lives. So it is still out there. Stop acting a fool. Not our listeners, but the people who are acting a fool. If you happen to stumble upon this, get your shit together, because people are getting it and it's real. All right, with that being said, let's move on to our next segment. How does that sound, E?
Let's do it.
Boom.
God damn, that's hot as hell.
Ooh-wee! Oh! Ow!
Yeah. Oh my God. Oh my
That can only mean one
God.
thing.
Fire. Ooh, it's hot. It's hot.
Hot!
Fucking hot, sweaty takes.
Hot. Oh yeah. Sweat. Got the sweat, the sweaty pits, the sweaty takes, all of it. All of it.
All the sweat, all the hot,
sweat.
and we're taking it. For you, dear listener, we're
taking all the sweat.
taking all the sweat. So we announced last episode what this week's hot take would be. It did seem a little insensitive in light of everything that unfolded recently. So we decided to go ahead and pivot a little bit, dear listener. I hope that you will pivot with us. Maddie, you did bring a hot take to the table, though. Am I correct?
I did. So we're gonna table my old one out of respect for now, and when maybe we can revisit it when things aren't as raw.
Absolutely.
And close. But yeah, my new take is that Coco is the best Pixar film by a large margin. So I'm gonna get into this.
Let's get into this. I'm excited.
Coco's a great film. It has wonderful music. It is a very fun, engaging story. The voice acting is really good. The animation is very good to look at. And they did a really respectable amount of cultural research so that it actually comes across as authentic as opposed to exploitative.
Right.
And the thing that Coco does that like every other Pixar movie fails to do is something, it's a moment that happens, it's like the beginning of the third act. In almost every Pixar film, there is a chase sequence.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And it almost never needs to be. I'm looking...
Interesting. Could you highlight one or two for me real quick?
Yes,
that
absolutely.
You feel like
the two I will use are Up and Inside Out. Up is a movie that everyone loves because the first 10 minutes of it are a perfect short story. It's a short film that is excellent. After that, it doesn't get better, you know? Yeah, there's a touching story about an old man, blah, 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 adventure. But once they get there, there's like this guy who's bad and they realize he's bad and then he chases them and then they win. And you're like, oh, okay. I don't really know what this has to do with like the beginning of the movie, but sure, fuck it.
Sure.
Why not? I have problems with Inside Out, pivoting to that. I have problems with Inside Out as a movie on the whole because I really feel like they don't actually earn their emotional journey, which is ironic given that it's a movie about emotions. But I mean, the whole, because like, okay, look, all right, I moved a lot when I was a kid, and I moved into a new school system at one point, and
it's tough.
It is tough. Is it the crumbling of your psyche tough? No, it's not. and that's something that I feel is really not earned, is that the outside of Riley's world and the inside don't match up, and there's just this like race to the finish, and it is this false heightening. It's fake stakes, you know. And they do this with all of their movies for the most part. There's this like chase sequence, and it's not always bad. You know, the Toy Story one's good. Toy Story 2 is also pretty good.
I enjoy it too.
But as it goes on, you kind of, as you watch more and more of their body of work, you realize like, hey, you always do this. And it's this kind of sneaky thing they do to make you invest, but it doesn't actually add anything. In Coco, they invert it, because rather than having the bad guy chasing them, they're chasing him. And it becomes this flipped power dynamic, and it's actually pretty good, and it's earned. And the thing is that Coco earns almost everything that it has, except for the bit, I don't know, I still don't know how I feel about the dog, his dog also being like a spirit guide. guide. That's a little, they don't really go into that, but whatever. It's a kid's movie. You can, but I feel that Coco goes the extra mile and actually does the hard work that other Pixar movies, especially recently, have been failing to do. Monsters Inc. is another example. Monsters Inc. has a chase sequence, and it's a fun chase. They're usually good set pieces, because it's like, oh, they're running through the doors and into different things and blah, 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 blah. But it doesn't, it is a false heightening of stakes, in my opinion, that makes sense if you're thinking about it from the perspective of like, it's a kid's movie. But also, I think we can all agree that there is enough content out there that is ostensibly for children that is also significant and good. Avatar: The Last Airbender is a perfect example. That doesn't fall into like the dumb traps. And I feel like Pixar could elevate itself further than it does. But with Coco,
so you like Coco so much because you feel like they sort of broke a plot formula, a plot.
Yes, they inverted their own
that they
mold.
Had already.
Yeah, they inverted their own mold.
Yeah,
that's.
I think that's fair. Like, I think Coco's a great film as well. I would have to re-examine more of Pixar's work to understand where you're coming from. I do enjoy this critique you have that a lot of these chase sequences are false heightening of circumstances. I would push back on that because it's not a false heightening of circumstances. The circumstances get heightened in a chase sequence, but they're not directly tied to character growth, perhaps. It's more so a plot device. So it's interesting. Sure,
it's a literal moving forward, but there's no character growth. You don't learn anything. You don't gain anything. It's just like, and now we've entered the portion of the movie where we run. And
that's legit.
Yeah, I have to go back and watch those movies to see that moment. I hadn't even realized that they frequently have chasing.
It's in a lot of them. I think Up is the most egregious example, and made more so by the fact that everyone holds it on such a high pedestal. But
which I have not seen, I must confess.
Oh, watch the first 10 minutes. It's fucking dope. It's so good.
Everybody, and it's so funny that you talk about it like that, because that is what everybody tells me, like, oh, the opening is gonna break your heart.
Yeah.
And then I don't really hear a whole lot about what
because the rest of the movie is like, vignette. I feel like they do this thing where they come very close to making you feel things, but like they don't ever really commit to it. I feel they always like give you that sense of death and then or loss or despair and then pull it back. Again, it's a kid's movie, blah, blah, blah. The thing is that Coco is a whole different story because it's already about dead people. Like loss has already happened, and it's about like finding peace through loss and like familial connection through music and like passion. The music is so good also in Coco. It's so good.
It's brilliant. Phenomenal.
It's hard to watch,
Remember Me
it's
is
so sad.
I called the twist in Coco, and that is not a problem in and of itself. But I also called one moment, I was like, I know exactly how they're gonna use this abuela to make me cry. I know exactly how they're gonna fucking do it, and they did it. It still had me bawling. It still had me bawling
because and the reason is it's not because it's not a twist. It's the truth. It's just so good. If you haven't seen Coco, go pause this podcast, go watch Coco, and then come back and just start listening to us again while
and realize that this isn't a hot take.
No, it's not a hot take. It's actually not a hot take
like
at all.
A fantastic take.
It's actually, it's just the truth.
The best. Honestly, it's my favorite. It is.
Yeah.
I'm not going to argue with you here.
And it's like...
It's hard to, yeah.
The pacing is good. The animation is gorgeous. The themes are really deep and meaningful. And, that ending. It's so good. Oh, man.
Good take.
That's my take. Yeah.
Right.
It's kind of a mild spice.
For some people, it might not be as mild as you might think. Honestly, for us, it may not be, but I feel like
for other
listeners
people,
might be like, "How dare you?"
Okay,
if you got it to the right people,
and Wally,
you can fucking at me again, Wally, and there's that fucking whole chase thing in the middle with the rogue ship. What's the fucking point? It's just like.
Right.
All right, that's my hot take.
Whoop, whoop. I love it. Well, okay, so where do we go from here, folks?
I think I got one.
Okay,
Oh, yeah?
great.
What is it?
I don't like the movie Her with Joaquin Phoenix.
Woohoo!
I don't think it's good. And I will go into why I didn't really care for it in a couple of weeks.
I can't wait. All right, I think it's time that I peace out and you two go on to your next section.
Wunderbar.
All right, bye.
Thanks for stopping in.
My pleasure.
Oh, what the?
What? That's different. That's a different thing. That's a thing.
fuck?
That's new. Oh my God.
What's this? Hold on. There's a piece of paper in the air. Hold on.
What does it say?
Hold on. I'm opening it. It says, tag your it.
Oh.
Tag your
Oh, that thing.
What thing? What?
Tag your it. That game. We used to play that back in the day.
Oh, holy fuck. You mean back in the episodes that no one should ever listen to ever?
Yes, the point in which we should not name the before time.
The never happened.
The never happened.
All of that. That's right. Oh, that's right. Ben, why don't you go ahead, because it's been a little bit. Why don't you refresh my memory? What are we doing with Tag Your It?
Okay, guys, in Tag Your It, what we do is we give taglines from a famous movie, or maybe not a famous movie, and we try to guess which movie tagline that it is associated with. So what movie does the tagline correlate to, essentially? Dear listener, we're going to try to implement this game a few times throughout the week, spice it up. We may even come with different games. If you have a game that you want to give us, let us know as well in any of our comment section. All right, so Ian, do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first, or how you want this to go down in his house?
Why don't you go first? What do you got for me?
Okay.
I'm curious.
My tagline is, she's out of his mind. What movie is associated with she's out of his mind? Is it Ruby Sparks? Is it Pretty Woman? Is it Mrs. Doubtfire? Or is it Lucy?
I'm going to go with Mrs. Doubtfire on this one.
You would think it was actually Ruby Sparks.
Interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I'm not super familiar with that movie.
Neither am I, but it seemed like a great tagline.
It sure did. It got me. It got me good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, Ben, are you ready for your first tagline?
I don't know if I am, but I will be.
Okay. Not much choice, right? We're in it now, huh?
Yeah, we're in it.
Ben, this tagline, I think they wanted to give the viewer a little nugget of wisdom, a little something for the road. So this tagline, Ben, life is for living. Life is for living.
Okay.
And your movie, which movie do you think imparted that little piece of choice wisdom? Do you think that movie would be Life? Do you think that movie would be Charlie St. Cloud? Do you think that movie would be It's a Wonderful Life? Or do you think that movie would be Life of Pi?
And the tagline is one more time.
Life is for living.
You give me the options one more time. I'm sorry. Life is for living.
Absolutely. No, you're all good. Life is for living. Is the movie correlated with this tagline? Is it Life? Is the movie Charlie St. Cloud? Is the movie It's a Wonderful Life? Or is the movie Life of Pi?
Charlie St. Cloud?
That's 100% what it is. It's some weird Zac Efron movie. I don't know what it is, but the poster looked really bad.
Yeah, I bet it is. I think I've seen...
Also, just like, what a fuck... Like, who on the marketing team was like, I got it, man. It's about how he doesn't have a lot of time, and he wants everything out of life. Well, life is for living.
Oh, my God.
And dear listener, if you hear my cat using the litter box in the background, that's because that's where we both agree that tagline should go. He's trying to bury the shame of whomever came up with that one. Mm-hmm. Ben, why don't you go ahead and give me a second one? I'm eager. I'm liking this new game.
All right. Here we go. Of course, you know the question is, what tagline does this movie correlate with? Part mystery, part thriller, part missing. I'll say it again. Part mystery, part thriller, parts missing with an S. I'm sorry if I dropped that S the first time.
Multiple parts.
All right. Yes. That will probably give you a little bit more of a hint to what it is. Let's see. Is it Deep Blue? C. Is it I Know What You Did Last Summer? Is it Lake Placid? Or is it Troll Hunters 2?
I'm going to go with I Know What You Did Last Summer, I think. That feels right. Like, part of me wants to go with, no, I'm going to backtrack.
Okay.
And I'm going to go with Lake Placid, actually.
Ooh, good last minute backtrack. Yes, it is Lake Placid. Good. Good shit.
I like felt it. I was like, I Know What You Did Last Summer would have a way hokier tagline.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't pertain enough to doing things or summers or knowing about things. Enough. I was like, just not enough for me, pal.
Did Deep Blue Sea not throw you off a little bit?
Deep Blue Sea, I was pretty sure that Deep Blue Sea had some sort of pun about the fact that there were sharks and they were smart. And also, I think Ja Rule did a music video for them. I forget.
Probably.
I forget. Who's in Deep Blue Sea that's like a musical artist?
LL Cool J.
Thank you. LL Cool J did a musical song for them. And so I'm pretty sure that's their tagline. Like, hey, LL Cool J made a song for this. You should probably just watch it.
Nice. All right. What's my second one, I believe?
Yes. Numero dos, my friend. This tagline: by sword, by pick, by axe, bye. And the movie that this tagline purports to market, might it be I Know What You Did Last Summer 3, The Mutilator, Final Destination, or Bye Bye Birdie?
And the tagline was again?
By sword, by pick, by axe, bye.
I Know What You Did Last Summer 3.
It's actually The Mutilator, which is some
Yeah, I would have got that.
vintage slasher film that I have never heard of, but I am sure it warrants any and all criticism.
It's a deep cut for somebody listening. They're like, oh, The Mutilator.
Somebody's like, they finally are talking about it.
Right.
All these years.
There you go. All right. Are you ready for your third and final one, sir?
I am. Third time's the charm.
Here's the tagline. If you only see one movie this year, you need to get out more often.
I got mad respect for whatever marketing team was so fed up with the bullshit that, like, if you're only going to see one movie this, it doesn't have to be this one, but Jesus Christ, fam, like, fresh air, okay?
Right. Is it Office Space? Is it Weekend at Bernie's? Is it Scary Movie? Or is it Naked Gun?
Oh, that's a good one. Those are all toughies. Give me my options just one more time.
Was the tagline belongs to Office Space, Weekend at Bernie's, Scary Movie, or Naked Gun?
I'm gonna go with Naked Gun on this one.
Is your final answer?
It is. Yeah, that makes me nervous, but yeah.
You're right. It's Naked Gun. Oh! Good powers of deduction, my friend.
I do need to take a second to shout out to my mom who forced me to rent the Naked Gun, much to my chagrin, because I was really hoping to rent either Godzilla or Mulan for the 12th time. But she was like, nope, enough of that. I'm going to force you to watch the Naked Gun. I had zero fun because I was being an obstinate little child. But in the end, adult Ian recognizes why it was probably a good call. Hey, Ben.
Go ahead.
Are you ready for your third tagline?
More than ever.
Bust a moo.
What? Say that again?
Bust a moo.
Bust a move. Okay, cool.
No, bust a moo.
Oh, bust a moo. Oh.
A moo. All right, here. Let me try this again with a little bit of Foley work. Bust a moo. That was rough.
Bust a moo.
Yeah. There was a little more character in that moo there that time. I gave you another read.
Is it Barnyard before you even say anything?
It's not Barnyard. I almost put Barnyard down as a trick answer, though. I should have, huh? Oh, yeah, man.
No,
well.
That was a good one. Go for it. I love to hear the option.
Bust a moo. Is this film trying to promote Chicken Run? Is it trying to promote Babe 2 Pig in the City? Is it trying to promote Home on the Range? Or is it trying to promote We Bought a Zoo? And I had to shout it because I accidentally had caps lock on when I typed it. And also, it just sounds like the right way that title should be said. Like, you drunkenly woke up one morning like, why are you freaking out? Honey, we bought a zoo. We are not prepared.
Let's see. Give me the options one more time, dog.
Absolutely, yeah. Was this movie Chicken Run?
Okay.
Was this movie Babe 2? Was this movie Home on the Range? Or was this movie We Bought a Zoo?
Oh my God. Home on the Range.
It was Home on the Range. Well done, my friend. That movie that came out and just nothing ever. And I don't think anyone has ever talked about it.
No, there's some kid or some adult at this point in time is like, yeah, I remember watching that fucking movie.
Oh God, that fucking thing, Jesus.
That's what that fucking movie is. Oh God. All right, well that wraps up Tag. You're It. One of my favorites, honestly. I'm glad we brought it back. I do like it.
Yeah, it's good to get a little taste of the oldies, you know?
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll bring back more here on Too Many Flicks. Let's close this son of a gun out, though.
Chicka chicka. Wow.
Yeah.
Just wow.
Wow is a good word for it. The long week. Like I said before, already in this episode, a long, sad week. But, hopefully you brought some joy to your life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We always have a ton of fun and joy making it. So, yeah. Thank you to all of you who constantly stop in, support, give a listen. You mean the world. You keep us going. Hopefully we keep you going.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, with that being said, Ian, why don't you tell the people who you are, how to find you, and let's see, what's your favorite color? Shit, let's be generic with it. Let's be a basic bitch.
Classy. I can be basic with the best of them. My name's Ian. You can find me on Twitter as Sir Yikes a Lot at BabyGotKnack. You can find me on Facebook as Ian Muentener if you care to try to learn how to spell that. Or you can find me on Instagram as SockNinja888. I've got tons of pictures of my cat, and I'm trying to get better at photography. So hopefully there's something fun for you there. If you are interested in my favorite color, I gotta say I am really, really partial to a deep saturated blue. Actually, really most hues of blue I vibe with. And a sort of neon poppy saturated green. Like, I love blue and I love green, and I love it when they like kind of meld together so that the blue is still really prominent, but the green like accents it. Something about it. Love it. Really works for me. Ben, who are you? Where can folks find you? And what is your go-to coffee order?
Okay, cool. All right. Well, my name is Ben Jenkins. Hey, y'all. You can find me on Facebook at Benjamin Timothy Jenkins. You can find me on Twitter at BTJenkins91. You can find me on Instagram at Benvolio91. You could also try to hire me and look at my website. It's BenjaminTimothyJenkins.com. Hey y'all. And my go-to order at a coffee shop, maybe Starbucks or any type of coffee shop. Okay, I like a soy chai latte. No water. Sometimes you can make it a dirty chai. Give me 2. If I'm feeling really randy, 3 pumps of espresso so I can get my day going. I like it especially in the fall. And sometimes I'll do it iced in the summer.
Okay,
also,
sure.
Also sometimes I just like a black eye or red eye,
Look at that. A man of range.
Yeah.
You love to see it.
Yeah. But that's usually my go-to. I'm not a pumpkin spice latte like Simple. And with that being said, we understand that this week has been tough. We understand that there is an election in 2 months and our world can change forever. We understand that people are sweating. People don't know when to go out and they are scared to go to brunch, or scared to, put on that mask or do all these other things. We know that things are crazy right now and you're being inundated with a bunch of news at you nonstop. You're just like, I just wish things were back to some semblance of normalcy, but also at the same time fighting for social change and justice, because Black Lives Matter and all of that is great and it's wonderful, and we know it's still probably stressful because it's a lot of things going on, and you want people to listen and want people to understand why people need to and deserve to live. We get it. We understand that you're like, hey Ben, I would love to watch this and that and the other, and I would love to know all this news, but I just don't have time to ingest it all by myself. And we get that. We're Too Many Flicks, okay? And we watch all the flicks, baby.
So that you don't have to.
Hey, you made it to the end of the episode. Thank you so much for listening all the way through. We have a few things that we want to cover with you before we sign off here. First things first, if you want to get in contact with us for anything at all, please leave a comment, subscribe, anything like that. You can contact us on any of our social media platforms. It's number 2 and an X at the end. That's at Too Many Flicks, the number 2 and an X at the end, and we will get back to you as soon as we can. Again, subscribe, comment on anything that you see there. Also, on any of the podcasting streaming platforms, please rate our show and review it. That way we can trick the algorithm into thinking that we have a lot more listeners than we actually do. But we do have a faithful base of listeners, and we are happy that you guys are with us, because we can't do it without you. Also, if you want to get in contact with us via email, you can do that as well. That's toomanyflix.chicago@gmail.com. That's toomanyflix.chicago@gmail.com. And I'm almost done, guys. I promise you here. But I want to let you guys know that this show is moving in different directions. Not anything too drastic, but we're trying our best to finally take that step forward and move the podcast over to, platforms like YouTube. So that way, not only can you listen to us, but you can hear us, because we understand that not everyone can listen to an entire podcast without any visual stimuli. And we want to give more people a chance to actually see the background and how things work behind the scenes, and we can just establish a really cool dynamic between viewer, listeners, and us, because you guys are a part of the show just as well as we are. You help us make it just as well as we make it ourselves. So again, we thank you very much. Also, we have D&D podcast coming soon. That's going to be headlined by our good friend and audio engineer Matt Frost. Be on the lookout for that. So we need some time to make these moves happen. So what's going to happen here with the structure of the show is that we'll drop Too Many Flix proper every 2 weeks. We know there's a lot of movie news, a lot of things going on right now. We will get back to our weekly schedule, but for right now, we're kind of front loaded with a lot of the business side of everything. So we want to make sure we get everything done in a professional manner. So you'll see the show fluctuate from week to week, which is good. It's a good thing. We'll just have a lot of news to cover in that week, but we will do it enthusiastically like we always do. But Stream Theory, which is a little easier for us to produce, will come out weekly. So you can still look forward to a show being weekly. In that Stream Theory, we will review anything that's on a streaming platform. And Too Many Flix proper, that's every 2 weeks. Just giving you guys a heads up, because we have so many things in the works for you. Just be on the lookout. In the next couple of months or so, we're trying to grow the Too Many Flix brand as large as possible without it being overwhelming. So just be patient with us as we try to traverse new territory in this media business. And again, thank you guys very much. Also, we will have links to Black Lives Matter foundations in the details as well. We are not tone deaf. We do know that Black people are still being killed by police officers. It's just no other way to put it. It's disgusting. We believe that Black Lives Matter here, and we will always do that. And we want to put that out there. Please donate. It's happening here in Chicago. It's happening everywhere. We're sick and fucking tired of it. And we want to make that a part of this show as well. So if you listen, that means you got to be in support. That means we got to do the legwork just as well as everyone else. And we will use this platform to make sure that people understand the importance of Black Lives Mattering. And that's every Black life. And we want to make sure you understand that. That way we are on the same page moving forward. All right, I'm out of here, guys. I know it's a longer housekeeping message than usual, but we have a lot to cover. So, okay, bye. Love you. Thank you so much for listening.